Hello, I'm Dr. Leanne Schmidt, and I'm here to share with you some information about digital application literacy, a theory that I've coined, and all right, here we go. First of all, if you'd like access to the slides to follow along or to refer to later, please take a look at the QR code that's in the corner. It should be active for you to be able to follow us. Okay. Digital assessment literacy, a term coined by Eyal in 2012, is explicit training in the craft of online assessment methods and student response expectations. This is the purview of educators in determining the educational goals and the applications which will best assess learner knowledge of those expectations. Responsibilities of the educators, as described by Eyal, are twofold. Crafting assessments so that they target the content that is intended, not just answers students can search or memorize, and analyzing assessments to verify the learning levels of students and understand where intervention may be necessary instead of just adding a number to a gradebook. Whether for the teacher or the learner, mastering assessment is a key goal in education. Eyal's theory of digital assessment literacy clarifies the role of equipping teachers to craft assessments, which, when analyzed, reveal student performance levels accurately. However, it is digital application literacy for students which assures that assessment outcomes reveal content knowledge instead of technology skills. Moved by the articulation of digital assessment literacy and decades of experience as an educator, I was moved to develop this theory of digital application literacy after some other research I had conducted. Now, digital application literacy refers to the nimble use of an app, which is web-based, or an application, which is computer-based, for education, including assessment. Called DAPLIT for short, to avoid any confusion with digital assessment literacy. Digital application literacy refers to knowledge of how to use an app or application before being expected to use it, which assures that content is the only thing being assessed. Understanding the impact of digital assessment covers a variety of topics, including reading comprehension, reading speed, reading strategies, physical reactions, and attention patterns revealed through eye movements. All of these factors clearly reveal variations between digital texts and printed versions. Page design and navigation across pages in a website reveal different patterns as well. Even the idea of seeking help is complex with digital media, which requires high-level skills to self-diagnose the need, even before being able to effectively find help. So learners who need it most are ill-equipped to get assistance. Some scaffolding through design, like color application and outlining of text, can be helpful. In 2020, I had an opportunity to analyze scores for students using a new software program adopted by their school. Here are the results. Study participants include 61 eighth grade students in a private parochial middle school in an urban setting who were 13 to 14 years old with a mixture of males and females. The learning platform utilized in the study was KnowRedInk.com, an online app with free and paid options in which the student data had been collected during the academic year, providing access to at year's end to the IRB exempt status petition. Assessment content covered language arts, particularly grammar curriculum, including comma usage, verbals, and active and passive voice. While subjects are all grammar, and 2 had some trace connection because they pertain to verb usage, the topic materials are entirely discrete from one unit to another. Controlling for the improvement base just upon an underlying understanding or progress in learning. Comparative descriptive results across all assessments demonstrated a rising trend. The baseline score on each assessment grew over time. Hence, the range narrowed from the first to the last assessment. The mean scores increased through the school year by over 15%. It should be clearly stated that the content material for each assessment was a grammatical concept which was mutually exclusive from other topics. Therefore, the increase is not based on having learned material over time. There is no carryover from one topic to the next. The table of platform improvement across assessments demonstrated that students were clearly mastering the program, since the content was different for each assessment and the classroom expectations and environment remained the same. If students were provided with a better orientation to the assessment platform before the first test, how much could the baseline score and the mean improve? As students master the software itself, negative impacts of anxiety, the anxiety which affected the original scores could also be eliminated. The fact that adaptive assessment is built on an initial evaluation of students' capabilities in selecting appropriate level questions is at risk if the initial assessment responses are based on errors that are caused by the platform mistakes and anxieties of the students. Engaging digital learners means committing to preparing them with a low stakes introduction to the app or application to teach students how to use it before assessing them with it. The pressures of assessment are enough without adding the anxieties of performance fears. Try a getting to know you quiz using the same testing platform, for example. Educators frequently make assumptions about student digital literacy, such as an understanding of hyperlinks. But there is nothing that articulates to a student, or an adult for that matter, that a blue word in the middle of a black and white text line is a portal to another resource. And what could be simpler than opening a door? But if you've never seen one in action, it can look like a barrier until the first time you're guided to turn the knob and push forward. Taking time to explore with students what happens if can remove much of their failure fears. Through a combination of orientation and debriefing, it is possible to mitigate impulsive choices which could negatively impact students' scores or empower them to understand the program better. Given the adaptive assessment uses, those early decisions those early decisions which help to select the follow-up questions could make poor choices, or students who make poor choices can change the whole test. Instructional enhancements recommended by the DAPLIT model can best be envisioned as the standard H of a manual transmission, though fewer are on the road today than when I learned to drive. Taking the student from 0 to confident in a short time requires a gradual increase in speed and power to be effective. First gear involves establishing a purpose for the use of the platform, an articulation of time and energy to be invested, connection with the course framework, and a clear view of the weight of the task in the scope of the student's semester grade. This involves preparing students for what they will need to accomplish without yet moving forward. So it is primarily a theoretical discussion or a vehicle pre-check. This step involves gearing up vicariously with a teacher-led walkthrough of the platform, which highlights features that students will need to use on their own. Answering questions wrong to show what happens is essential. During the guided tour, students may ask, what happens if I click that symbol? So that it can be explored when they're not in a time-critical situation or their academic performance hangs in the balance. By third gear, students want to feel the power for themselves, giving them a hands-on, low-stakes activity to complete with supervision shifts the choice-making and pace to the learner. A teacher circulating the class to encourage students or to troubleshoot with students having difficulty can bring all learners to a deeper level of understanding. Opportunity also exists to celebrate individual discoveries about the workings of the platform. After students have engaged in the use of the platform at speed, it's time to downshift and discuss the experience, debriefing what they liked and didn't like, a key to what they might not actually have understood, but they call it a didn't like. Answering informed questions about the application and posing scenarios in which students might make a poor choice to dialogue best practices when faced with those situations. Beginning with a foundation of digital assessment literacy, in which teachers are equipped to create and analyze assessments which effectively capture information on achievement with educational goals, enhanced by the development of digital application literacy, which similarly equips learners to perform effectively in the digital medium. Achieving authentic assessment of student content knowledge is possible. Thank you very much for your participation today. I wish that I was available to answer questions for you directly, but I am more than happy to do so if you send them to me at my email, which is listed here, lsempowered@gmail.com. You could also take a look at lsempowered.wordpress.com for other ponderings and some videos that I made available for different platforms that I have been able to share. Thank you very much and good night.